Hey everybody, Dwarf from AstartesGaming here, welcoming you to Total War Warhammer, where we are going to be taking a look at first the dwarves, but if you guys are interested, we will do some playthroughs of the other factions as well. That will largely depend on how popular this series is, but if, there's plenty of viewership for this series, then I'd be happy to do a couple more. I'll be playing other factions in my spare time anyways, so if you guys want to see that, I'm happy to show it. Before we go into the new campaign, I want to show you my graphics settings, just so you guys know what I'm playing on. If you want to try to make your, game look the same as mine. So, basically I've got everything set on high. Video effects and texture quality are set to ultra. Shadow detail I have on medium, because honestly shadows aren't particularly important to me as long as they're there. Unit details on ultra. Depth of field I have on. Screen space reflections I decided to leave off. This is basically like reflections of the terrain in the water and on like metal objects like armor and stuff. To me that seems like it might use up a couple more frames per second than I would like, so I'm going to leave that one off. And we're going to stick with large unit size. Depending on how smooth the game plays, I might kick that up to ultra, but for now we'll stick with large. And then I do have unlimited video memory toggled on, so it should not throttle my video memory at all. We shouldn't have any bottlenecking going on. I'm not going to use VSync though, because that'll do exactly the opposite of what I want. I don't know exactly what they mean by SSAO here. It says it simulates ambient lighting and shadows around the edges of objects. I'm going to try it. We'll see how it looks. But I don't know exactly what they're referring to there. Distortion effects, I'm going to leave on. Heat, haze, and smog, and fog, and all that cool stuff. Fire effects, things like that. I think that sounds cool. And then proximity fading. So this just avoids clipping. Yeah, so we'll run with this. You can see my video card there. It's a GeForce GTX 960. So it's a pretty solid video card, but it's certainly not the best out there. And I do have the 4GB, so it's it's a solid video card overall. But I don't have like a 980 or anything ridiculous, so you should be able to keep up. Right, so campaigns. We are going to be playing as the dwarves, as I said before. And so let's take a look at our victory objectives really quickly. By the way, I think we're going to go about an hour for this first episode, so don't worry that I'm killing a little bit too much time here. We're going to play a full hour, or at least pretty close to a full hour for this first episode, and then we'll go back to the regular 25-30 minutes for the following episodes. So I guess I'll read through this real quick. For many generations, the dwarves prospered, but then their realm was driven by a chain of, was riven by a chain of devastating earthquakes, followed by sustained attacks by greenskins and other vile foes. Thus, the golden age of the Karaz Encore ended. To this day, the dwarves still fight. Their ultimate goal is to restore their empire. With their belligerence, such a thing is possible. A dwarf throng is a powerful force consisting of stoic dwarf warriors, gyrocopters that fly above the battlefield, and cannons fueled by flame and steam that spew death. A throng is like a gathering of dwarves or an army, basically. So to them, magic is a tangible thing, something that can be worked into axes or cannonballs. It is with all these elements, stalwart dwarfish hearts, exceptional armor and weaponry, and the unmatched machines of war, that High King Thorgrim Grudgebearer plans to retake his realm, slaying every last stinking greenskin in his way. Few doubt his resolve, and for the first time in many generations, the dwarves are truly roused to battle. The great reckoning begins. And so here are the faction mechanics for the dwarves. We can only capture territory that belongs to greenskins or other dwarven factions. So I believe they're called holds or something, but that means that the territory that the humans and the undead and everybody else are fighting over, we're not so concerned with. We can conquer it, we can raise it to the ground, but we can't actually sit on it. We can't capture it and make it our own. Grudges. This is going to be a very important detail in the Dwarven campaign. And so the grudges work sort of like objectives, but in a little bit more. Basically, every time the enemy factions do something that influences my faction in some way, we'll probably get a grudge in the Book of Grudges that will have us kind of react to it. And so it says enemy actions result in grudge missions, all of which must be settled in order to achieve campaign victory. And then, importantly, we have the underway. Armies can choose to use the network of underground tunnels to avoid impassable terrain in enemy armies. And this is especially important for the dwarves. The greenskins can use the underway as well, but because the dwarves lack faster units, they don't have any cavalry. The closest thing they have to it is the gyrocopters. The dwarven armies are very slow, very sturdy, and so the underway is a great battlefield for the dwarves to use because it's very narrow passages that force the enemy to kind of hit us from the front. They can't flank us because the underway is very narrow, and so it plays to dwarven advantages. Whereas fighting the orcs or the humans above ground, where their cavalry can run amok, would be very disadvantageous to us. The greenskins, as I said, can also use the underway, but the greenskins are very mobile, fluid armies that don't fight in tight formations, and so the underway is actually not really an advantage to them, at least in terms of fighting. So if we can, we'd like to fight down there. And let's take a look at our victory objectives. So for the long campaign, we have to have no active grudges. We need to unite the following dwarf holds, either through direct ownership or vassals and allies. And so you can see there's several here. Karak is, I believe, the starting hold, and then we have to take everything else. We reclaim the following fallen dwarf holds, either through direct ownership, vassals, or allies. I think these all belong to the greenskins, and these either belong to other dwarvish factions or maybe nobody, I'm not sure. And then we have to utterly destroy the greenskins. We have to make sure that chaos only exists in the chaos waste. They can't exist anywhere south of that. And then we have to ensure that Archaon, the Ever-Chosen, is in a wounded state, so he can't be up and running around. And then the long campaign is basically the same with the added... Oh, it's like identical. Which one were we looking at here? Oh, okay, so that was the long. The short one, the Book of Grudges, no greater than 9. So we can have less than 9 grudges, which that actually seems like quite a bit. And then everything else looks to be the same, although we don't need to take back the greenskin holds, it looks like. So I don't know what we'll head for here. We'll just play and see what happens. And so the playstyle for the dwarves is durable units with strong leadership, excellent range of strong artillery, strong economy and trade options, large tech trees with military and civic branches, magical resistance, but we don't have any magic of our own. The units are expensive to recruit and to upkeep, and again, we don't have any cavalry. Also, the individual units themselves are fairly low in number. That said, our basic units are somewhere around mid to higher tier quality compared to like the orcs, for example. So the higher recruitment cost and upkeep kind of balances that out. Some of the top units for them are the Gyro Bomber, the Slayer, which I'm not particularly fond of, and then the Iron Drakes, which I haven't had a chance to play with yet. So let's jump in here. We've got 2 choices for faction leaders. We have Ungrim Iron Fist or the main faction leader Thorgrim Grudgebearer. We're probably going to use him because he's going to allow us access to grudge throwers immediately. This is the most basic form of artillery that they have. It's essentially a catapult. They'll also give us access to Quarrelers, which is the best ranged... Well, sorry, that's not a great way to word that. They have the best range of any of the Dwarven Skirmishers. And that also gives us access to Hammerers, which are very heavily armored shock troops. If we had chosen Ungrim, we would have access to Thunderers, who have a little bit less range than the Quarrelers, but they do better armor damage, although they do less damage overall. So you can see their missile damage is 16. 14 of that is armor piercing. The Quarrelers, they do 21 missile damage, but only 4 of that is armor piercing. So these guys are better in general, but against armored troops, the Thunderers are the way to go. So we'll probably mix both in our armies, but Quarrelers are going to be a better start. He gets access to Slayers, which again, I'm not a fan of. They don't have any armor. And so these are essentially your very slow cavalry units, because they have to be used as a flanking force. If you try to attack head on with these guys, they're going to drop like flies, because they just do not have the armor to stay in the fight. Then they also get access to Longbeards, which we should have access to fairly quickly. These guys are basically just veteran infantry. The biggest advantage to these guys is that they are immune to psychological effects, and they encourage. And so basically these guys work great to help hold your lines when your leader isn't present, because normally your leader would give a buff to the neighboring units. When your leader's out doing something else and fighting, you can have Longbeards kind of helping hold the line and keep morale up in his stead. So again, we're going to go with Thorgrim here. It'll give us minus 10 construction costs to military recruitment buildings, which is great because we have to recruit military units, and minus 10% upkeep for Longbeards and Hammerers, which is awesome. This guy would have given us minus 25% to Slayer unit costs and minus 50% to Slayer unit upkeep. Again, I'm not a huge fan of Slayers, so it doesn't make sense for me to take this guy. Also, I believe that down the road in the campaign, he will become accessible as a lord to us anyways. So we're going to go with Thorgrim. Let's go ahead and jump in. Oop, before I forget, we're going to set the difficulty to hard. And let's go.
The old world is a crucible of relentless war. It has ever been so. An era as long as the mountains are unyielding.
Not a great place to fall asleep.
But as the storms gather again, it presents a chance for the brave to bring about an age of reckoning. I come to the Dwarf High King as a herald of such times, and so I find myself at the King's right hand. My presence is timely. But dire news comes from the south. Greenskins flock to the banner of a cruel war boss. Now, my liege, Thorgrim Grudgebearer, leads a mighty throng from Karazakarak, smashing aside any foes that block our path. If Grudgebearer desires to return the Karaz Angkor to its former glory, then he must rid his lands of vile greenskins. Those gathering within the shadows of Everpeak are a good start.
Fellow Dowie, I see orcs scum. They foul our mountains with their vile taint. The Damaskron, our great book of grudges, is filled with such greenskin atrocities. Bring hammer and axe. Show these irksome Groby no mercy.
Alright, looks like we get a battle right off the bat here.
Attack, my lord. See for yourself.
Okay, is this gonna be like a tutorial? Oh, you can pan out a little bit further than normal. Okay, I surveyed it. Can I control them now, or what's going on here? There we go.
Be sure to join the fight yourself. The warriors will be greatly inspired by your presence.
Am I can only control these two? Okay, so this is a tutorial. Let's see, we got some longbeards with us. Pretty cool looking. Feel bad for these guys that have to lug him around. Yeah, it looks like that's all AI controlled, so we only have to worry about this center part of the
Remember, as you
map here.
that help and advice is available at your request.
Let's keep moving. Who are we running into here? Some big uns? These guys are like slightly, I'd say like middle tier orc units. They're not quite as good as like black orcs, so they're definitely not elite, but they're definitely better than just regular orc boys. Let's get them up in there. I think we'll join in with him as well. Let's see, Foe Seeker, Deadly Onslaught. Let's do that. And this is Stand My Ground. Okay, so that'll work better for sustaining battle, but this one is better for charge, although this would have helped us as well. Okay, so we've got them flanked. The hero units in this game are particularly strong. They're a lot better than your average general unit in other Total War games. In fact, they are usually extremely overpowered. In some cases, especially with the Chaos heroes, they can be like overwhelmingly powerful. This guy isn't obviously the best warrior. He's more of a buff bot type of hero. And so he excels in buffing the units around him. Although you can make him into a fairly potent warrior with time. Let's see, we've got dwarves fighting over here and winning, that's good. Oh great, so now I have to control everybody. Well, keep fighting. Let's see, those are not mine, okay. So who are we attacking right now? These guys? Once we break through there, I think we'll start pushing through the center, start getting after some of these ranged troops. What do we have here? Missile front, melee front.
Get your missile units back from the enemy, my lord. They will be most...
Yeah, I'm aware. These missile units are actually fairly competent in melee combat, actually. That's one advantage that the dwarves have, is that their ranged units are actually pretty well armored and have decent defensive abilities. So if they do get caught in melee, it's definitely not the end of the world. They also have the advantage of having shields, and so I think they block like 30% of incoming missile fire, which is, you know, pretty solid. Like 1 in every 3 arrows they shoot at you isn't going to hit. Let's go after those guys. We'll keep advancing behind with here.
Your presence can sway the battle, sire.
Yeah, I know. Are they getting tired? No, a little bit. Let's see. Foe Seeker. We'll get up in there. There's not really a great place for these guys to set up. So let's just put them like here. Let's see, skirmish mode. Is there like a loose formation? It doesn't look like it.
General joins the battle at last.
Okay, so their heroes on the field. Where is he at? There he is. So the heroes are noted by this like star, the what is that, 8-pointed star? So you can see ours down here has it as well. So that's how you can tell who the hero is. Looks like they've fled, so let's move up to here. And I want you guys to start engaging them. The range on these guys is actually pretty impressive. They have like 135 range, I think, which is actually, no, it might be 155, but it's definitely superior to anything that the orcs have. So when fighting the orcs, especially when doing like counter-ranged combat, you probably want to go with Quarrelers. Cool, we won. We'll chase them down, but it shouldn't matter.
Your sacred peak is secure, King Grudgebearer. The mountains rumble to the sound of your armies marching, yet the threat to your kind has scarcely diminished.
Okay,
the lands
so
around here remain infested with filthy greenskin scum. See for yourself.
can I turn this off? I don't like tutorials, so it wants me to examine Ferenka Hills.
The dwarfs of Barakvar look kindly upon your cause, sire. With sufficient persuasion, they would likely join your struggle against the Greenskins.
Okay, that's kind of them. So we may not have to conquer those guys.
The Greenskins of the Bloody Spears continue to defile your most sacred monuments. They must be expelled from these mountains with all haste. No dwarf king should tolerate such a presence so close to Everpeak.
Fair enough. That'll probably be our first target right there. And what else did it want me to examine? Ah, here we go.
The scabby-eyed tribe of Greenskins maintain their hostilities against you from their feeble camps upon the plains. Be sure to watch their movements carefully.
Alright, we'll keep an eye on them. So, here we are. Maybe they'll finally let me play now.
Vengeance
Nope.
must be the answer. The Bloody Spears cannot be allowed to regroup after their defeat. Press forward and maintain the offensive.
Okay, let's see here. Menu. Options. Game settings. Tooltip expand mode. I guess I'd rather be able to see them. Can I just turn this off? No, apparently I can't, so I have to do this.
Good. Grimnir's axe thirsts.
I have to advance toward their army. Okay. Where is their army? I don't see it. Over here?
Forwards!
Good. The enemy will no doubt have picked up your movements. They will be frantically barricading their hovels in preparation for your arrival.
Okay.
More of your proud kin stand ready to take up arms against you.
I'm going to skip through as much of this as I can.
Retake the road.
I didn't mind this so much when I was learning the game for myself, but now that I know how to play it, I really don't care to learn it again. Okay, so I think I'll take some Dwarf Warriors. Miners are pretty cool because they can deploy outside of your normal deployment area. So they're definitely not a bad choice. We'll take like one more of them. But Dwarf Warriors are probably going to make up the bulk of your army early on because they have pretty good defensive bonuses. They negate most charge bonuses. I think basically everything except like heavy charge from like monstrous units.
Will make first-rate warriors, I'm sure.
Okay.
Let's also look at improving your infrastructure at home.
Yeah.
A solid base of operations will repay itself on the battlefields ahead.
Okay. So, the system in your provinces works slightly different than you might be used to in previous Total War games.
Upgraded training facilities will allow you to better train
This
the
guy
down to
is
fight,
getting very...
sire.
Here we go. Yeah, I can't turn it off. I'm just going to do text only. I don't want to listen to him anymore. So, if you look at this, you've got 1, 2, 3 tiers of buildings. The way that population works now is that as your population surplus goes up, you spend it on upgrading the tiers of this. And so we need 2 population surplus to upgrade to the 3rd tier, 4 for the 4th tier, and another 5 for the 5th tier. However, something like this barracks here is not going to be a great fit for our main province because this can go up to 5 tiers. This is only going to be effective for the first 3. And so moving this to something like a minor hold where they only go up to 3 tiers would make a lot more sense. See, something like this can only be used in the 3rd through 5th tiers. Something like this will go 1 through 4. And so those buildings make more sense. This one will go 2 through 5. So yeah, these make a lot more sense in a major hold versus a minor hold. But it wants me to upgrade this, so we'll do that. I'll move it eventually, though. Let's see, you must seek ways to further your methods of war if you were derived blah blah blah. Put the finest minds. Oh, it wants me to research. Okay. So, the ways of the guild are your economy upgrades. The ways of the clan are your military upgrades. So, we already have the 2 basic ones. What will this do? Income from settlements plus 5%. That's a nice little income boost. Include related families. That'll give me +1 public order to everybody. Gather the throngs will lower recruitment costs, and levy missile warriors will lower recruitment costs. How was our public order looking? -3, so we should probably take the public order first. We'll go with that one. And is there anything else it wants me to do, or can I finally start playing? I know your patience wears thin, you have no idea. But you must temper the need for vengeance with further intelligence of the Groby's actions. There is nothing more to do for now. So it wants me to end my turn. I mean, I feel like there is other stuff I can do, but if you say so, I could build something like this. Military recruitment. Yeah, I can't do that one yet, but I will build a siege workshop here as soon as I get an opportunity. Cannot build. Okay, so it won't let me do anything the first turn. That's kind of frustrating. And they're on the move. I think I'm going to keep in the in-between turn stuff just because it goes through fairly quickly in this game as opposed to some of the other games. And so I believe I will leave them in, unlike I normally do. So, grudge issued. Beheld by the enraged gaze of Grimnir, the bloody spears have trespassed with impunity all over the sacred mountains. Their forces gather to the east and must be defeated in battle before their strength is regained. Defeat an enemy army belonging to the following faction in battle, the Bloody Spears. And we get 1,000 gold for that, plus whatever we gain from the actual fight. So, am I allowed to play yet? It looks like I am. Okay. So, 3,400 gold. Let's see what we can do here. Barley field or a gem mine shaft. That's going to give me 300 income and produce 28 sacks of gemstones. And we can take that all the way up to tier 4. So that would be a decent choice. I think we'll do that. And is there anything else we need to recruit? We've got a pretty solid army here. Let's see. They have 6 units. We have 10. Pretty good advantage here. This is really a give me, so we'll go ahead and fight this one. That's definitely on our side, but we'll fight this one out because I'm going to try my best not to do any auto-resolves unless they're absolutely necessary. our Rome 2 playthrough has gotten pretty auto-resolve heavy, and so I would like to avoid that in this playthrough. Especially since the combat in this seems like it's going to be really, really enjoyable. So let's go ahead and fight. Alright, this is kind of an interesting deployment. We've got this big crevice in between the two armies. Let's kind of pan sideways and take a look at it. So we each have the high ground, but one of us is going to have to move off of it. And I sort of have the advantage because of the artillery, so I can force them to come to me or just get pummeled to death. I think we'll deploy a little bit over here just because Actually, that looks like a better spot to defend, because there's a big killing field right there. I just don't like the trees in my way here. So we might just stay right where we're at. Let's get the melee troops back. And then I'll take you guys and deploy you right along the front here, maybe 2 deep. Can I go that far? Yeah, I can. So we'll do something like that. I don't think there's a loose formation in this game, which is a little bit of a shame. I liked loose formation quite a bit for my ranged characters. There we go. Okay. So these guys are the primary defensive units I have. We'll go about 3 or 4 deep there. I don't know that there's really any formations to toggle in this, at least not that I've seen. There's no like shield walls or anything that I've noticed so far, but I haven't played with a lot of the elite units yet, so I could be totally wrong there. Let's go right on that hill. And then the miners I can deploy wherever I want. So I could put them like way out here, but I don't know that that's a very good plan. I think they're going to be better served just kind of guarding my flanks. We'll go a little bit deeper formations, I suppose. Something like this. And then the Hammerers and Thorim himself are going to be in my back line. The Hammerers are basically just going to be his retinue for all intents and purposes. Everybody but you, formation lock. Okay, you start slinging grudges. Let's see, target. Oh, they're coming right at me, okay. Let's take a look, see where these hit. Ooh, there we go. Orc boys, biggins. I think the biggins are probably the best one to target. We should be able to outrange their missile troops. These guys are going to be probably the most difficult to deal with. There's a couple kills. And they're going to run right into my killing field here, which is exactly what I was hoping for. Let's see, we've already dropped a couple. I'm going to drop a couple more here. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to pause, I think. Actually, we'll let them get a little bit closer. But the plan is to countercharge them right when they get close. So I think that's a good place to pause. And now we're going to countercharge. Let's see, I want these guys to go after him. And I want you to charge them. You're going to charge the center troops, and you're going to charge these guys on the right. And the miners will help out with that. And everybody else will stay where they are. So here we go. Let's zoom in so we can see a little bit better. We're going to engage on that front there. Engage on that front. These guys probably stand to take the most losses because they're fighting one-on-one. But they should be better than regular old orc boys, although they are getting pretty roughed up. Why aren't you fighting? You're supposed to be fighting. he doesn't have any abilities right now either. So we probably lost more hammers than we needed to there because I didn't do that very smartly. Okay, you're fighting there. I need you to go join in on that front. And let's see. Why don't you start heaving at them? That's probably the safest target. And you guys can just keep shooting. Anything else? That should end pretty quickly. Why aren't you firing? It should have taken them a while to get going. Okay, that's all wrapped up. This is about to get wrapped up. Oh, we put the enemy lord down. Awesome. We'll let this run for a little bit. Just because I want all the free kills I can get here. Okay, that's probably good enough. Decisive victory. Awesome. Alright, so we've got... how much loot? About 300. Not bad. We'll get another 1,000 for completing that objective. It looks like our hero ranked up to level 2. So we'll look at the skill tree for him in just a second. So we can release the captives for a little bit of money, but it's going to hurt my unit replenishment rate. And we could kill them and get some leadership. Now, we hate these filthy greenskins, so I think there's only one option here, and that's to slaughter them. By the way, the numbers here, we lost 120 to their basically 280, so our kill to death ratio there is a little over 2-to-1, which is, you know, not bad, but we could probably do better. So let's put him to the sword, or the axe, I guess.
Move the throng.
And our grudge is successful, so there's another 1,000. But we have another grudge issued. We need to capture the pillars of Grungni. Let's go with that. And for another 1,000 gold. We're gonna do that anyways. Although I don't think we have. Can we still move? We can. So we can do that this turn. Let's level you up first. I think we have to hit that button. There we go. So you've basically got 3 trees, very similar to how it worked in Rome and Attila. You've basically got combat prowess here. This is like your auras and your buffs and stuff. And then this is like your... what's the word? This is basically like your logistics. And so this is sort of like... I guess... God, I can't think of the word now. I don't think it was intelligence. But in regards to like Rome 2 and other Total War games, this is like your authority. This is like your zeal. And this is like your... I think it was intelligence, but I could be wrong. So yeah, that's how that works. I think making him into a pretty solid buff bot is going to be the way to go, since he's already geared toward that already. So I think we'll go Inspiring Presence. It's going to boost his aura of leadership by 5. I don't know exactly what +5 to an aura means, but it sounds good, so we're going to take it. And that opens up this tree. And so what I might do is take all 3 of these first and then start filling out the corresponding trees for them. But I don't know yet. We'll see when we get there. Right, so what is this going to give me? Unlocks recruitment of Quarrelers and Quarrelers with great weapons. I honestly am not a huge fan of the Quarrelers with great weapons because them having shields makes them very useful for countering archers. And when you give them great weapons, it makes them better in melee combat, but they lose their shields, and so they're less effective at range combat, in my opinion. And so I don't tend to favor those guys.
Aye.
Shall we attack this? Can we see what their garrison looks like? We can. So it looks like they're 5 units, most of which are just goblin spearmen, and they've got 2 orc boys. They don't have much left here in their army, so I think we'll be alright pressing our advantage.
Thank them.
Yeah, this is very one-sided. We'll fight this out anyways, though, because this is the first episode. And again, I'm going to try to stay away from auto-resolving as much as I can in this playthrough. So, we'll see if his aura is any better for us. We're going to use the catapults to our advantage, let them come to us yet again. Alright, this field is fairly flat, so this should work to my advantage. Although having that big hill on top of a nice killing field like that last map was, you know, pretty awesome too. So let's get you guys in a line here. I probably should have just combined them into a single unit, but this is fine too. And we'll get you guys, well, let's get everybody else out of the way first. That looks good. The miners are going to go out on the flanks here. Actually, we're going to do something a little bit different with the miners this time, because we can deploy them wherever we feel like. So I think having them over here might be a little bit fun. So we're going to hide them there. Oops. I'm going to stop using the mouse to steer, because that's a little bit awkward. Let's get you back here, maybe, so they can only be flanked on one side. And then we'll go you two along the front, fairly spread out. And then 1, 2, 3 along the back here, something like so. And I'm actually going to put these guys off to one side, maybe this side. Do something like that. And I think that's everything. So we're going to call this Group 1. We're going to call these guys Group 2. And that's 3. Okay, so they're off to that side. Hopefully they don't see my miners, otherwise we're going to have to run like hell. They're still hidden. And this should be more than enough for them to reconsider moving to the other side there. Nice. They do have reinforcements coming in. It shouldn't matter though, they're fairly weak. But we're going to use our range to our advantage here and just make them take as many catapult shots and crossbow bolts as we can. I'm probably going to be relying on artillery very heavily in this playthrough, because that's one advantage that the dwarves have on just about every faction aside from maybe the humans or, you know, the Empire. Although that's pretty arguable depending on, you know, which side you favor, but the humans do have pretty solid artillery as well. And so, you know, we're going to be looking at the organ guns, the cannons and stuff, and we're probably going to feature quite a few of them in our armies. Just because, again, we don't have any cavalry, and so being able to pummel the enemy to death is one great way to handle that, especially from such a distance. Let's let them get a little bit closer, and then we'll charge them. Okay, here we go. So they've already broken. That works out perfect for me. We're going to attack like so. And then I think you guys are going to go after them. I don't know if that's slowing down my charges. It might be. It might be better to retreat the skirmishers rather than advancing the melee troops. Perfect, and they've already started engaging these guys, and that was like a direct hit. Whew. Doing pretty good here. They should slaughter those goblins. Oh, these guys rejoined the fight. Oh, and they ate a couple catapult rounds for doing it, and that was enough to deter them, it looks like. Let's see. Yeah, I don't have any abilities with him yet. Those were just for the tutorial. Let's see, how are we doing back here? Honestly, I think these are orc boys, but the orc boys under his command are the biggest threat to us right now. Okay, I need you guys to stay back here. And you, yeah, you guys need to retreat. You guys can start advancing, although it really doesn't matter at this point. I feel so bad for these guys. They have to freaking lug that throne around. That just doesn't seem efficient in a fight. Are you guys doing anything? Okay, you are. I'm actually going to have you flank, I think. Actually, I might send these guys in. No, let's get you around the side here where you can just fire into their lines. And you should be engaging them, as should you. Let's see, go fight them. No, I need you firing at these guys. Okay, we're gonna charge them. You guys are taking way too long to get into the fight here. Oh, they got caught in melee. It's not at all what I wanted. Are you fighting? Because we're losing way too many guys to, Oh, they're out of ammo. Oh, no, they're not. Okay, there we go. Where? Oh, yeah, they have tons of ammo. Never mind. I don't know why I was thinking that. Get in here and help out. And you start shooting them in the back. They're starting to break finally. Okay, I need you two to start firing at them. And you can charge. We'll just end it here. This was a siege battle, I believe, so it shouldn't matter that we don't finish them off. Nice. Alright, how much loot did we get? Oh, only 88. That's kind of weak. But we did level up again, so that's awesome. Let's see. They lost 586. We lost 75. So that's a kill to death ratio of better than 6 to 1. So that's much more what I like to see. Granted, they got wiped out completely. I don't know that that's 100% accurate, but yeah, still 6 to 1. That's a lot better than 2 to 1. So we'll level him up, and then I think we're about out of time. Let's see. We can loot and occupy. What's that going to do? Minus 30 conquest penalty, but that's only for one turn. But it'll give me minus 10 to provincial instability, which might be a bad idea considering that this is the same province that our capital's in. So we'll just occupy, I guess.
Alright.
And so we've completed another grudge successfully. And I'm going to get rid of that. We've got another one to occupy, loot, or sack. Oh, sorry, occupy, loot, raise, or sack 3 different settlements for another 2,000 gold. Which, I mean, that's kind of the name of the game, so it shouldn't be too difficult for us to do. And then we've got another quest to go ambush somebody in Thundering Falls. But yeah, since somebody decided to fire up a weed whacker outside my window, I'm going to go ahead and end the episode here. And we'll pick back up with our campaign next time. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Please feel free to share my videos however you guys see fit. And I will see you guys back here for part 2 of our Total War Warhammer Let's Play.